at Cisco Meraki, and I cover Eastern Pennsylvania. And today we're going to talk about our Cisco Meraki Cloud Managed MV Security Solution. And we're going to show you that our unique architecture will not only simplify both the deployment and management of a security camera solution, but that Cisco Meraki MV is much more than just a physical security camera. I'm also excited to introduce our guest today, and it's CR Hiestand, who is a network and systems engineer and administrator at Reading School District in Reading, Pennsylvania.
Hi, everyone.
Hey there. We're also going to go through a live demonstration, and he's going to show us not only how he's been using Cisco Meraki throughout his school district, but we're also going to see what a live look at our Cisco Meraki MV cameras here at our headquarter location looks like as well. We're going to go through the Cisco Meraki solution and talk about next steps as we wrap things up today. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and jump in. But first, before I do, as a housekeeping item, we'll have some team members standing by to answer all your questions along the way. So please feel free to use the chat box if you have any questions, and we'll be sure to get those answered as we go. So a little bit about Cisco Meraki, in case anybody on today's webinar doesn't know a whole lot about us. I want to start with some things that differentiate us from a lot of the solutions that you'll see out there in the industry right now. So first and foremost, our mission at Meraki is to simplify IT. We are among Cisco's fastest growing portfolios with a complete enterprise class cloud managed IT solution. And you may be familiar with our wireless offering, but a Cisco Meraki full stack solution includes a wide range of wireless switching, security, SD-WAN, communications, UEM, and security camera solutions. And really the cloud managed revolution has been amazing to be part of. And as you can see here today, as of today, we have over 250,000 unique customers, over 3.5 million Meraki devices online, and over 5.5 million active dashboard users. So it's really been exciting to be part of this revolution, and what we do here is really amazing. So a little bit about our technology too. What's unique about our solution is that Cisco Meraki's out-of-band control plane separates network management data from user data. For example, management data like configuration or statistics, monitoring, all that kind of stuff flows from the Cisco Meraki devices like access points and switches and security appliances to a Cisco Meraki to the cloud over a secure internet connection. So what that means is that, user data like web browsing, internal applications, and all that sensitive information does not flow through the cloud and instead flows directly to its destination on the LAN or across the WAN. So there's different advantages to having that out-of-band control plane. And first and foremost, as you can see here, it's intuitive. The Cisco Meraki dashboard is a very simple, easy, intuitive browser-based dashboard that is cloud-hosted and centrally managed. A second amazing part of having that out-of-band management is that our Meraki solution is scalable. It's unlimited throughput, no bottlenecks, and you can add devices or sites in minutes. Even configure devices as it's being shipped out to your location ahead of time. Another great point about a Cisco Meraki solution is that it's highly reliable and utilizes multiple data centers across the country with 4 nines of uptime. Last but not least, today's topic is about security. So one of the best things about the Cisco Meraki solution is that, as I mentioned before, our out-of-band management means that no user traffic passes through passes through the cloud, so you can rest assured that a Cisco Meraki solution is completely secure. But you may be asking, but Doug, what happens if my network loses connectivity to the Cisco Meraki cloud? One of the best things is because of the Cisco Meraki that out-of-band architecture, end users are not affected if the Cisco Meraki wireless APs or switches or security appliance can't communicate with the cloud services because of a temporary WAN outage or failure. So again, highly secure, highly reliable, scalable, and very, very intuitive. So why would you want to choose a Cisco Meraki MV solution? Now that you know the benefits of Cisco Meraki and our cloud-managed architecture, why should you choose MV? And we're going to dive into more details there. First and foremost, you can see here network security. We protect student data and comply with security regulations, and you can even restrict unwanted content. So you can be sure that your network is highly, highly secure. From a physical security standpoint, we understand and want to enable you to provide a safe and secure learning environment from the classroom to the playground. Because, as you can see here, as we all understand, student safety is a top priority. And as I mentioned, our guest today is CR from Reading School District, and they were recently in the local news because they understand and have taken great steps in ensuring that student safety continuously. And I think this quote at the bottom from their superintendent, Khalid Moonin, really encapsulates it perfectly, that schools are supposed to be a place of safety and utopia, great educational process, and access to greater opportunities. So here at Cisco Meraki, we are excited to be part of that. And to learn more, let me show you how Cisco Meraki is helping them achieve that mission. So anybody that has managed a traditional security camera solution is probably really, really familiar with this slide and the architecture that goes into a traditional camera deployment. If you've ever supported a traditional solution, you understand that it could be very complicated and cumbersome. Typical solutions require NVR, servers, multiple on-premise hardware, multiple software packages, hours and hours and even days of manual configuration, and so much more complexity. In the end, as I mentioned, it's extremely complex, it's a huge headache, and is a potential source of network vulnerability, and that's something that we really want to alleviate here at Cisco Meraki. And with that, there's now a better way, and that way is through a Meraki MV security camera solution. And one of the things that we're most excited about this product portfolio is that this is the only security camera from a cloud leader such as Cisco Meraki, managed through that single pane of glass dashboard as all other Cisco Meraki solutions and products are. And we have a wide range of options when it comes to the hardware and some really, really great features, including 256 gigs of solid-state storage on each camera, motion and scheduled-based retention, which we're going to show you here in just a little bit in our live demo. And again, what I really want to highlight here is that a Cisco Meraki MV solution, security camera solution, is much more than just physical security. These cameras actually act as sensors and go way beyond just physical security and being able to monitor activity and where people are at any given time. You're going to be able to see traffic patterns, and we got some really great analytics that we're going to show you in real time. So more to come. I don't want to spoil everything in our live demo, but we'll jump into more details here in just a little bit. So to wrap things up and kind of tell you, again, why you should consider Cisco Meraki MV solution is, most importantly, you're going to be able to say goodbye to things like that NVR and additional on-premise hardware that is a single point of failure potentially or a network vulnerability. You're going to be able to get rid of that additional equipment. Secondly, you can you don't have to deal with any standalone software packages or drivers, plugins, VPN or different configurations needed to download and retain and allow access to the local police or fire or authorities to access your camera solution in the event of an emergency. So it makes it really, really simple to get a solution deployed in the event of something. Last but not least, long gone are the days of DVDs and thumb drives and other outdated sharing options when it comes to exporting video and getting those to the right people. So in the end, again, what's unique and amazing about a Cisco Meraki solution is that we're going to simplify a camera deployment. So with that said, I'm excited to introduce and pass it over to CR, who will share how he is ensuring student safety at Reading School District.
Absolutely. Thanks, Doug. As Doug mentioned, I'm a Network and Systems Administrator for Reading School District, and we recently started deploying MV cameras as a replacement to our very traditional and very old security camera solution. So we're gonna go through a demo of the cameras so that we can see the great features that we get from the MV solution. So first, just a bit about Reading School District. We're a large, by Pennsylvania standards, urban district, about an hour outside of Philly. We serve approximately 18,000 students and have about 2,000 teachers and staff, and currently today operate 25 buildings. As Doug mentioned, we do use the full Meraki stack here. So about 3 years ago, we began deploying the MR access points, and today we have that throughout the district. So we have over 1,400 access points in use today. We also use the MS switches and are beginning to migrate to that district-wide, and we also use the MX security appliances to filter and provide internet district-wide and a few places off-site, including in Azure with site-to-site VPN. We also use Systems Manager on district-owned iPads and other Mac devices, and all of this works in one Meraki dashboard, so we're very excited to have the MV security cameras added to that as well. So why are we moving to Meraki MV? So as Doug discussed, a big reason for us is that there's no more DVR requirement. Our old system had traditional DVRs everywhere that were limited to about 20 cameras each. So in a district of our size, that's a lot of DVRs. It's a lot of DVRs for us to try and manage. It's also a lot of DVRs filled with hard drives that like to die all the time. Another big feature is web-based management. So we don't need dedicated places anymore with special software and huge screen setups and huge computers to run, complicated software that few people knew how to use, that needs installed and updated and managed by the IT department. We're also getting much better quality and coverage with the Meraki cameras. With our old solutions, even on the best day and flighting conditions, the cameras were not incredibly useful and oftentimes just gave us, muddy pictures, which were not very helpful. So now we can find incidents with more accuracy and much more quickly with things like motion search, which we'll demo shortly. So our deployment today, we have 1 elementary school done and 2 admin locations, and we're looking forward to the rest of the district. So at those locations, we're shooting for complete exterior coverage, especially parking lots. We're also getting interior and exterior shots of any entrances and exits and coverage in stairwells so we can see what's going on. The nice thing now is, instead of having to deploy specialized software to anyone who needs access and have them manage accounts that aren't integrated with anything, we can now just give them access to the Meraki dashboard. They log right in on their computer. They can do it on their phones or tablets, get right in and see what they need. With motion search, the time it takes to find events is significantly reduced. Oftentimes with our old system, you simply just had to watch all of the footage during the time that you thought something might have happened. And if you're trying to cover a full day of footage, even at a fast forward speed, that's still a lot of time, and it's very easy to miss things that happen. So now with the Meraki MV system, it's much easier to identify who, what, and where things are happening, which has been a huge benefit for us. So what are we doing next? So our largest building is our high school, which you see a nice picture of it here. So this summer we plan to deploy 275 Meraki MV cameras, which will replace all of the existing traditional cameras there. We're also looking forward to getting the rest of the district done in probably about 2 years. We're beginning to target districts as DVRs die, which unfortunately is a pretty common occurrence for us at this point. We're also trialing the MV12, which Doug will demo in a bit, with the new people detection for analytics, which I think is going to be a great help for us and would be a great help for people to really get more data out of these cameras, because as Doug mentioned, these aren't just security cameras, they're also great machines to get analytics out of.
All right, so with that said, thanks, CR. So we're going to jump in and actually show a live demo. So I'll let you kind of walk us through, CR. Oop.
Sure. So we're going to take a look at dashboard here. So we're going to start on the Meraki network, because this is where we can demo some security cameras. But first, just give you a quick overview of dashboard as a whole. So you'll see that it is truly a single pane of glass experience. Everything's integrated in this UI. This is the same UI for all of the products. So you learn it once and you know how to do this stuff. So you can see on this page here on the left-hand side, there's a drop-down for networks, which is how dashboard is categorized overall. You can make networks for physical locations or certain types of users or devices, whatever you want to do. It's totally customizable. So you can see there, Meraki has quite a few. Then on the left-hand side, you see the general layout for dashboard with done by the products. So switches, wireless, systems manager for MDM, and then phones and cameras. Under each of those, you see we have columns, typically monitor and configure. Those are the typical things for each of the products. And so once you're in a network, which we are now, the main Meraki network here, you see all those on the left-hand side.
Yeah, and I'll chime in, CR, and just for obvious security reasons, we're not going to show live video from Reading School District, but I thought we'd jump in and you can show us around our headquarters and show our video wall.
Yeah, absolutely. Doug's going to switch over here to a video wall. So as you can see here, this is a video wall from the bike room at the Meraki headquarters. So everything with Meraki MV is done in the cloud, and that includes configuring video walls and editing them. So if Doug edits this video wall here, we can see the things you can do. So very easy to rename. You also just drag cameras around if you want to resize them or rearrange them. You can have a maximum of 12 cameras on here, but you can see you can change the size to fit what you need there. So now we're going to look at the stairwells. So this is the main stairwell at Meraki. So this is actually a good demo of the existing MV21 cameras and the new MV12s. So I think here, the top left here, this is the new MV12 with a wide angle lens, and then on the top right there, it's the MV12 with a narrow lens. So you can see the difference there. So at this point, I think we should show a motion search, which is an awesome feature here. So Doug's going to do a motion search here, and all you have to do is click and drag that the area you're most interested in. So Doug's going to pick that landing right there, and then when we scroll down, the cameras are going to return all of the events there. So you can see right away it's returned this happens very quickly. You see the length, and then when you select one of those, you'll see it's highlighted where the motion is. So we see some people coming down the stairwell. And again, this happens really quickly. It's great to see how fast all this is. So if there's an event that you've captured, you've done a motion search, you've found an event, and now you want to, now you need to export something. Very easy to do. Click export. You pick in the timeline at the bottom how long you want to export, which is really easy. Just drag it around. You can zoom in and out. And then once you've done that, you just hit export, and the dashboard will go and retrieve the footage from the camera. And then when it's done, you can download this. So I think it's important to note here that this is just an MP4 format. You don't need any special software or anything like that to get this footage. You can also just download it and share it, or you can share a download link to whoever you'd like. So this, I will note here, this is a big change from our traditional solution, which required proprietary software to view its exported footage. So there were very few people internally who knew how to do that in the first place, And it was also very difficult to share that with outside people because you had to instruct them on how to use that software. So those issues have totally gone away with MV for us, and it's much easier. So now we're going to show object detection, which is the Show People button, which is a new feature on the MV12 platform. So what's great about this is now the camera can show you not just where motion is, but we can also see the camera pick out and identify people in the frame. So I think if we, as Doug finds an event here and then play it, we should see it identify some people. Yep, right there. So you see the yellow box, not only on the stairwell, but down below. So the camera is doing all this analytics for you. As soon as it captures the footage, you can go back and view it with the people already found in it. And it even works well with multiple people in the frame. It can identify them all pretty well. So now I think, Doug, if you go over to the Analytics tab, we'll see the overall analytics. So this page at the top, you see the people count. That right now comes from the MV12 and the people detection. So you can see in the space you're looking at, the utilization of the space, how many people are in it, individual people, and how many people are coming and going. The motion heat maps are also available on all of the security cameras. So it's a very easy way to see where in the frame is motion happening. And for instance, if let's say you have a stairwell in a school that shouldn't really be utilized and you don't want to do a motion search, you can very easily come to the Analytics tab and take a look at the day view like we see here and say, oh, there is motion, and now I can go back to that, to the camera view, go to that day, and go look at what's happening. So before we get into the settings, just a quick note here to say that MV installation is incredibly simple. If you've used any other Meraki product, you know how easy it is to set up from unboxing to get it into dashboard. So you can add it to dashboard as soon as you have an order number, so you can get things configured ahead of time. Once you have the cameras, you just need to unbox them, get them mounted and plugged in. The MV21 and the 71 are wired only. The MV12 today is wired and will have Wi-Fi support later in the year. Once they're up and running, you'll see them in dashboard. You'll see the video, so you can adjust the camera if you need to. You can run autofocus pretty quickly, and then you're good to go. It's incredible how fast you can go from an MV camera in a box to mounted and usable. So now we'll do a quick run through of the settings pages. As with most Meraki products, this is very simple. So this is an MV12. You just have rotation and HDR here. HDR is exclusive right now to the MV12. If you go to quality and retention, Doug, so this is where you set all the recording settings for the camera. So by default, they'll record all the time. Motion-based retention is a free feature that came to MVs a little while ago. So if you enable that, the camera will always record for 3 days, and then after that it will start scrubbing any footage from its memory that doesn't have motion. This has been a huge help for us. We enable this across the board. So for cameras where we have pretty low motion, we're easily getting 90+ days camera footage now. And even for high traffic cameras, we're looking at about 20 days. And I will note too, we run all of our cameras at the enhanced video quality on the MV21 and 71s, and we'll run the 12s at high, as you can see this one set to with 1080. Now if we go over the night mode, sorry, Jeff, pretty simple there. All these cameras have IR illuminators, so you can see things at night. We haven't really had to adjust the defaults on this. It works really well for us. And now if we go back to motion alerts, so this is another free feature that just came to all MV cameras very recently. And so you can see here, it's another very simple UI. You can just turn them on. You can change the trigger time to make sure you're not getting motion that really isn't motion. And you can even define areas of interest. So if you have a camera where you really only want to see if a door is being opened, you can enable area of interest, just drag around the door, just like you do for a motion search, and save that. Also note on motion alerts, you can customize these so that only certain people get motion alerts. So for instance, if the network admins that have access to the camera networks for managing them, they don't need the motion alerts, that's fine. You can define motion alerts to go to other people. What you'll see here in the camera section of the alerts page, you can just type in an email address there. That could be a distribution group in your email server, and those people will get the motion alerts. So next we'll go to the administration area of the network. So this is where you define access to the network. So you'll see here there's a camera-only admins area. So you can easily add organization-wide camera admins. These are people who would have access to cameras org-wide. You don't need to do it on a network-by-network basis then. But the important thing to note here is because they are camera-only admins, if you have a combined network, like the network we're showing here, there's other Meraki devices in it, those camera-only admins would only see the cameras. So you don't have to worry about them seeing information that they shouldn't or messing with configurations from non-MV. And you'll see here Doug is editing an individually defined camera admin here. So this is how you define the level of access. So view and export is essentially full, view any, they can go back and view live, they can just stream live. You can also define, that they get all the cameras or individual cameras by a drop-down, or if you're familiar with Meraki products, you know that tagging is a big thing. You can tag cameras to create a set of cameras that someone should have access to, and then you can just give them access to that tag. So this has been good for us where we can say a secretary in a building that only needs to see the front door camera. We can say you only view live footage of the front door camera. But a principal for a building, we can say, you know what, you can actually see all the cameras in your building. You can export the footage, and you're only limited to this network, so you don't see the cameras at a building that you're not at.
Awesome. Great job, CR, and definitely took us on a good stroll of our MV demo here at our headquarter location. So with that said, thought we'd hop over and you can give us an idea of how you're using Cisco Meraki across Reading School District and other areas.
Absolutely. So now you'll see Doug has switched over to the live RSD network. So we're in another, so this network is actually only wireless, so that's why you'll just see wireless there on the left-hand side. But again, this familiar UI, so this is the clients page. So this is a very good overview of the network, the traffic that's going on. You see there's a pie chart of the type of traffic, and then you see a list of, under the pie chart, all the stuff that's happening. So YouTube is very popular here, along with Netflix, so you can see the usage of that. So then, Doug, if you want to click on, YouTube. So now we see here, so this is details of YouTube only. So in this network, we can see the individual clients and details on them of how much Netflix they're using. And now if Doug clicks into one of these clients, so now this is the client detail page, so we can tell they are connected to RSD Wi-Fi, which is our main Wi-Fi network. We can see the access point they're connected. Great things for troubleshooting right here, like signal strength. And then you see the usage chart, just like we saw a moment before, except this is limited to just this client. So now we know exactly what this client's doing, lots of YouTube, and then Google Apps. You'll also see if you upload maps and floor plans, that's how that top right image happens, so you get an idea of the AP they're connected to in the building. And then if we go back into the policy, so let's say, for instance, YouTube or Netflix is being used a little too heavily. Well, we could easily go make a group policy and assign that to this user to say, you know what, you can get to Netflix, but we're going to limit it to 1 meg. Or you can whitelist people here or block them completely. You'll see we do have some group policies listed there when Doug clicked it. And with blocking, you can do a great message right there. And we assign these policies automatically to wireless users with Radius, which is really great. We don't have to go manually assign them. Everything happens automatically for us. So now we're going to switch over to another network here. So you'll see, just like the Meraki Demo network along the left-hand side here, this is a combined network. So this has an MX, an MS device, and some MV cameras. And we also have Insight access for the organization. So Doug, if you want to click on a wired client here, we'll see a very similar page to what we did with the wireless clients, but The cool thing to see here is, so because Insight, a new Meraki product, is enabled for our organization, we now have these track web applications right here. So we can see that this user has been using YouTube. They've also been getting to Google, and their score is 100. So in terms of Insight, that means that they have perfect access to this. And Doug can very easily click on one of those applications there. Oh, sorry, Doug. No, let's do topology. I forgot. So we're going to look at topology view here, which is a great troubleshooting tool. Let's say this user is having an issue connecting to something outside the network. So we want to see, how does the user go from being connected to the switch to getting out to the internet? So you see here that they're connected to that switch. Upstream from the switch is the MX device, and upstream from that is the internet. Everything's green here, so we can assume that there's probably an issue with something outside the network. So that was the layer 2 topology. We also now recently got the layer 3 topology. So you can see here all of the networks that are defined on that MX. And in a larger network where you perhaps have MX devices and MS devices running layer 3, you'd see them connected here and how the layer 3 is connected between them. So now we're going to take a closer look at Meraki Insight, which, as I mentioned, is a new product from Meraki that gives some really great insights into how applications are actually behaving on the network, so we can get a much better idea of, how are things performing for users. So right now you can see all these services that we're tracking, are performing pretty well. And so Doug just switched it to the last day, and you'll notice that overall on dashboard, the timelines are always defined in the top left. So once you're used to that, that's how it goes everywhere. So let's say we go down to Netflix and we look at that. So now we just see Netflix only. And Doug, can you scroll up to RSD-WAN there? Yep. And if we do view trends for that, so RSD-WAN is our main MX network that all the internet for the district goes through. So right here, we'll see details on how Netflix is performing across the district. So we're doing well so far. We have a performance score of 100, and you'll see that the network throughput has been pretty constant, and the latency isn't spiking too often. You'll see across the top, there are the network, application, WAN, et cetera. So all these things are data that Insight is collecting for us, so we can very easily go see exactly how applications are performing, and more helpfully, when there's an issue, find out exactly where that issue is, and help users make sure they have a good experience with all these applications.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ciara. That's a great recap, and maybe we can take a little bit of time since we're a little ahead of schedule. And can you tell me some reasons why you chose Meraki to begin with, and why you continue to add additional equipment to your infrastructure?
Yeah, absolutely. So in general, Reading School District has a pretty small IT team for our size. There are only 9 of us in the department. So having a true single pane of glass platform like Meraki has been incredibly helpful for me, especially. I'm the sole network and systems admin. Having everything integrated in a true single pane of glass has been great. It's a huge time saver. It lets me go to one place for troubleshooting. It's also, it's just incredibly easy to see everything in one spot and configure them all in one place. And as you've seen now, so no matter the individual product, the UI is generally the same. So it's sort of a learn it once, and then you can easily do, all sorts of Meraki stuff. So Doug's quickly going to show here a switch, for instance, and we can see that the UI is the same. Makes it super easy to configure switches, which is very different from a traditional switch setup where you're probably consoling in or SSHing in. So we can go right here. We can just click on a port. We can see its configuration, which is very, very different from how traditional switches are managed. So that's really been the biggest reason that we've continued to go with Meraki, is that it's just been a huge time saver for us. So for instance, now that we're deploying, MR and MX and MS, we can now move on to managing additional projects like security cameras, even with a small IT department.
All right, thanks so much for that. Sounds like we're simplifying your life and getting you back to your more important priorities, correct?
Absolutely.
All right. Perfect. Thanks so much, CR. All right, so transitioning back, I'll go ahead and wrap it up here. And want to go through our current Meraki MV lineup and show you something that we're really excited around here is our brand new MV12. It was announced and launched here recently, and this model is our indoor, is one of our indoor MV cameras, and it has a fixed lens with 3 different models: wide angle, narrow angle, as we showed you in the demo today. It's a compact form factor and has a lot of those really fantastic advanced analytics built right in and out of the box. We also have our MV12, which is a fantastic indoor camera with varifocal zoom-capable lens. As anything Meraki, it is easily installed and really a fantastic multi-purpose indoor security camera. And for outdoor deployments, as CR mentioned, the MV71 is really ruggedized, really robust to ensure that it can perform outdoor in even harsh conditions. Same varifocal, zoom-capable lens, and again, is really built for those demanding environments. So, as CR did really well showing us, he's been an advocate from the beginning, working with his Cisco Meraki account manager, Matt Shaner, to just continue to build upon that infrastructure of Cisco Meraki and move towards that full stack. And you can see here, you may have heard of Meraki, and especially our wireless offering, but it's much more than just that. Our full stack offering is our access points, MR, security appliances, MX, or MS, which is switches, and we showed you a few of those today. Systems Manager is a fantastic EMM, MDM solution to manage those, iPads and one-to-one initiatives that you guys have going on out there. And MC, our communications phone solution, and the highlight of today's webinar, our MV security cameras. And once again, it really is a complete cloud-managed IT solution built into a single pane of glass dashboard that is accessible from any device from anywhere in the world. And if you haven't checked it out yet, we have even applications for iPads, iPhones, Android devices. So it makes it really easy to deploy and manage a solution even in any remote location. So as far as next steps today, we're going to cover a few things that if you want to learn more information, I would really urge you to check out our blog at meraki.cisco.com/blog, and a lot of really good information here as we continue to announce new features and new products. A lot of that ends up here, so if you want to stay cutting edge and learn all the new and exciting things we're doing, this is a great place to start. Of course, we are always happy to send you out a risk-free evaluation of any of our Cisco Meraki offerings, including the MV that we discussed today. So if you are interested, contact your Cisco Meraki account manager. Otherwise, if you're not sure who that is, feel free to go to meraki.cisco.com/eval, and we'll get you out any piece of demo equipment you'd like. Last but not least, this is a great resource if you'd like to hear from other Cisco Meraki customers, get some really good information on how they're using Meraki that is completely led and managed by Meraki community of customers. This is a great resource, so community.meraki.com. And with that said, I want to wrap it up and just say thank you everybody for joining today. But since we have a little bit of time, if there's any questions, we'll go ahead and take some live, and CR, feel free to chime in if you'd like.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks very much, Doug, for hosting this with me. And as Doug mentioned, huge thanks to Matt Shaner and his cohort, Dave Scott, for all their help with our RSD projects. They're great resources to reach out to. I will also add, too, the community website that Meraki recently launched, as Doug mentioned, is absolutely fantastic. There's a lot of great people on there, a lot of great ideas being shared, and there's a lot of participation from Meraki employees, too. So it's a great place to go get questions answered.
Yeah, thank you for that. And CR, we had a question, and someone is asking if you had all your cameras on the same network, or did you create a separate network for each school?
Yeah, so we do a network per physical location. And I think you might have noticed when we were in the Reading dashboard, we have quite a lot of networks. So what we typically do today is we do network per physical location, and then we split the MV into their own network and the MR into their own network because they are bound to templates.
Great. And, I'd also expand that, that is completely customizable. You can break them up by location, as CR had mentioned earlier, or if you'd like to have them, in one tab, it's completely customizable, up to you.
So another question I saw here about how do you handle fixed displays for viewing live video? So that's actually pretty easy for us to move to. We've just been deploying computers with, I'd say, a decent amount of RAM and CPU, and then we just use Chrome with multiple video walls.
Great. So we're scrolling through. Any additional questions? Okay, so we had a question about, and I had mentioned this earlier, about having network connectivity. If the network goes down, will a Cisco Meraki solution still continue to work? And I just want to clarify, absolutely, that that out-of-band management will ensure that this equipment will stay up and running in the event of a failure. So hopefully that clarified, in case there was any additional questions. All right. Well, with that said, I don't think we have any additional questions, so we'll give you back some time today. And again, thank you for joining us today, and hope to see you on the next webinar. Thanks so much. Have a great rest of the day.
Thanks, everyone.